Halloween?
This one takes a turn in a very strange way. It goes from horror to comedy. Not like Abbott and Costello horror comedy, but like straight up funny, haha family comedy. This is The Invisible Woman from 1940. And yeah, it came out the same year as The Invisible Man Returns. The Invisible Man Returns came out in January, and The Invisible Woman came out in December. This was directed by A. Edward Sutherland and was again released by Universal. The music during the title screen already lets us know this isn't going to be scary. More lovely.
I love you.
Fuck off.
Slapstick type comedy. Okay. This is Richard Russell, played by John Howard, and he is flat broke from partying with all these ladies like it's 1986 after a Motley Crue concert. That's his lawyer, Hudson, played by Thurshall Hall, letting him know that he's made some pretty bad choices in life. And this is his butler, George, played by Charles Ruggles. So to save some money, they tell Dick to kick the doctor out who lives on his grounds. This is Professor Gibbs, played by John Barrymore, and his housekeeper, Mrs. Jackson, is played by the Wicked Witch of the West herself, Margaret Hamilton.
I'll get you, my pretty.
The professor gets his eviction notice from Dick, and he realizes he's got to whip something up quick before he kicks him out. Gibbs runs an ad for a young person to come be part of his experiment. Most of the letters he gets back, people say that they think he's nuts. But one person replies and says, "Hey, I'm willing to be down for this." So Gibbs says, "Get this person in here immediately." He doesn't realize that the person that responded to his ad is a runway model named Kitty Carroll, played by Virginia Bruce. And she hates her job, and her boss, Mr. Growley, played by Charles Lane. Dude is a total dick, so I can't blame him for wanting to quit this job. He's actually shocked that it's a woman that comes in this time, but he says, "Hey, who cares, let's go for it." This time, instead of a serum, it's a full-on machine that also helps them become invisible. He also promises her that this will only work for a few hours. The experiment works, and while Gibbs runs to get Richard to show him that it works, she goes and wreaks some revenge on Growley. And boy does she. She scares the shit out of him. She gets naked right in front of him too. How nice. She is naked on the movie poster after all. Then she slaps him around some more, and she helps him see the error of his ways. Here come the bad guys, gang of thugs that also want the invisibility drug. So these fools are Ed Brophy as Bill, Shemp Howard as Frankie, and Donald McBride as Foghorn. And yeah, they are fools in every sense of the word. They storm Gibbs's lab. Kitty races back to the doctor and helps scare off the thugs. Now Gibbs has to prove that his experiment works to Richard. But Richard is so sick of Gibbs that he literally packs up his stuff with his butler and runs to his cabin. Jump over to the gang again, and it turns out the reason they want the invisibility concoction is because their boss, Blackie, is in exile down in Mexico, and they want to bring him back up to wherever they are. Blackie is played by Oscar Halamoka. Gibbs and Kitty arrive at the cabin to show Richard that Kitty is invisible. So the one thing they learn, though, is that while she's invisible, she gets tanked pretty quick. So they throw her to bed. Back at Gibbs, the gang breaks into his lab and they steal the invisibility machine. Mrs. Jackson tries to stop them, but she just gets locked in a closet. They bring the machine back down to Mexico to Blackie. Luckily, the professor still had some of the serum on him, and you can't use the machine without serum. It kind of messes you up if you don't have both. So the doctor kind of figures out that alcohol for some reason prolongs the invisibility. Why? I don't know, we're not sure, but it just does. So it also kind of seems like Kitty and Richard are getting along really well. and the professor thinks that Kitty should be visible soon. So for her big reveal, she gets all jazzed up for Richard. What a great time for Frankie and Bill to nab Kitty and the professor. Oh yeah, they outed Foghorn from their gang, so he tells Richard and the butler where Blackie is in Mexico. Kitty's got the whole thing under control. Good rescue, boys. Okay, well, I don't really got a lot to say about this one except for you can take it or leave it. It really has nothing to do with the first two movies, and there's zero horror in this whatsoever. That is just gone at this point. I like comedies, but some of these older ones are kind of hard to watch. Some of it was funny, but overall, eh. And I can't tell if Blackie is supposed to be mocking Hitler, Capone, or both. The professor and the butler are really the only two characters in the movie that I can say I like. They're actually kind of funny. But that's all I can say about this one. Skip it, you're really not missing anything. Next up is The Invisible Agent. Wow, that was a short one.